some people are probably asleep, but waking up for this. Want to thank you for joining us in NINAS. I am going to be handing over to Joseph Carey, who is from the Middle Belt, and he's going to be our opening host. And he will tell us how this is going to go today. Welcome, Joseph Carey. We are glad to have you with us.
Well, thank you very much, Jennifer, for this opportunity to welcome everyone on this platform today. It's a great day in London. It's quite very bright and sunny. It's lovely. I'm loving it. The kids, and I hope you guys are happy where you are. It's quite sunny today. When it's sunny in London, I am the happiest person because the weather can get a bit murky. Now, today, we want to first thank Mazi Azoke of Endanger Media for providing this platform. It's very important because you can't take for granted when you don't have a platform, your message can't go anywhere. And also, we welcome everyone here. Today's going to be a question and answer series, essentially about NINAS, the constitutional force measure. I may get that wrong. My French is still crude. I'm still learning. Okay. And also, we want to say the format today, essentially, we said is going to be a quick summary of what NINAS is all about, what it has achieved so far, what happened with the 1999 Constitution, and what NINAS has done to prepare freedom. And the word is freedom, freedom from the yokes of the caliphate that has held the indigenous Nigerians hostage for years. We have been in hostage for decades, and it's time to work out through that freedom. And what NINAS has done to prepare the international body, there will be question and answer sessions for people, and we'll have there'll be also a call to action and at a point. Then one thing, but before we start, I will definitely pray. But just before that, I just want to tell you, I have read through the freedom plan of NINAS, and I am excited about NINAS because the reason I did tell Jen why I'm part of NINAS is because it's what we've been praying for deliverance, praying that the indigenous Nigerians should be set free by whatever means, as the Lord did to the children of Israel when they were in Egypt. When I followed NINAS before, I saw what they were saying, and I knew that, yes, that's the right path. There are three things that it's clear, it's historical, it's prophetic, it's logical, and it's feasible. Okay, right. So it's clear, it's historical, it's prophetic, and it's also feasible. Okay, and that's the best solution for Nigeria. And so I'm delighted that we're all here today. I want to welcome all of you from different parts of the globe, some from the United States, some from the Kingdom, and I believe some from Nigeria. Some other parts I may not know you by name, but I'm glad that we're here. So we should be very open to the summary and be willing to ask questions. We'll be given opportunity to ask questions and to seek clarification, because for lack of knowledge, my people perish, and we don't want to perish before we even get out of Egypt. Okay, correct? Because the children of Egypt, they left Egypt first before they began to complain, but we're not going to perish before we even leave Egypt. We have to leave Egypt first before we navigate our way to the promised land. This is the platform. So before I hand over to Jean, I'm going to pray now. I'll pray. Shall we pray, please? Father, in the name of Jesus, we want to thank you for this opportunity to come together again. Lord, when your people cried unto you in Egypt for many years, they were under bondage. When you heard their cry, you picked a Moses, a prophet, to deliver the people. You say, I've heard the cry of my people, and I want you to go and tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Lord, thank you for raising the Moses here. Thank you for raising the likes of Miriam. Thank you for raising the likes of Deborah in this platform, in NINAS. Thank you for raising people of like minds who know that we've been under bondage for decades of the caliphate. Lord, we pray today that you give us understanding, wisdom. We need wisdom, we need understanding, we need synergy. Give us one heart, one spirit, one baptism, that we walk this path. And victory is guaranteed, because once you're on our side, who can be against us? So we thank you, Lord. We give you praise and we adore you, and we return all the honor and glory unto you. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Amen. 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 Over to you, Najin. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. That was awesome. I particularly liked what you said about the NINAS plan. The fact that it is logical, it is prophetic, it is well thought out, and it is being executed with people in mind. Because when people come together, that's when things happen. Okay. So as we said, we are going to, for the benefit of those who are new and those who are not so new, just give a few minutes to Donald Echo, who's going to talk to us just a little bit about where Nigeria was, what happened, what NINAS has done, and bring us up to today. Donald, thank you very much. You're welcome.
Good evening and welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where we are viewing from. Okay, a very quick one. We like to give reasons for why NINAS talks about restoring our sovereignty. Maybe we need to understand how we came to be as a union called Nigeria. When before our independence, the founding fathers of Nigeria knew that we were very different people, knew that we had different cultures, and knew that since the sovereignty belonged to the people, we did not come, the founding fathers never said we should come and have a unitary system where we have a group of few people taking care of the whole federation. What the founding fathers actually did in 1959 was to, they came together and agreed to come in as different regions. So Nigeria actually had 4 regions. That is the northern region that was autonomous. The southwest was also autonomous. The southeast was also autonomous. Then in 1963, when Nigeria became a proper republic, by a referendum, the 4th region was created. That is the Midwest region. So these regions were they were autonomous. They were making contributions to the center, and the constitution was that of the people. So the people actually had the power to determine who they want to lead them and who they wouldn't want. But unfortunately, in 1966, we had the coup that came and stabilized the whole structure. Then in 1977, we had a war, and up till I don't need to talk about 1979, but I just go back to the military era. While we are growing up, we are so used to the military, we never really know much about what civilian rule was about. For someone my age, we were not very grown up when we had a Shagari democratic governments. So we have always been used to the military regime and so forth. Then we had the everybody wanted to go back to democracy. Everybody wanted to go back to how we were when Nigeria was, the union called Nigeria came together. But in 1999, when the military were handing back power to the civilians, instead of going back to how the original structures of Nigeria were, rather they came up with the unitary constitution, the unitary system that we are today. It was not interesting for people because it took away our sovereignty. That constitution actually said that we came together to agree and made the constitution for ourselves, of which it was never so. But the most important thing is that a few legal people looked at the paper and said that, look, this document was fraudulent, had so much flaws. It gave so much power to the center. It gave power to a few people. It took away the rights of citizens in a very important, a very little section of the Constitution, as in chapter, I think it's chapter 1, section 6, subsection 6C of the Constitution. It took away all the rights that was given to the people in section 2, in chapter 2. So what you have as NINAS today, people came together and say, look, we can't work like that. What NINAS is trying to do now, from the point of getting the regions using multi-regional vehicles to drive the regions to where we now seek to recover, to express our rights to self-determination and recover our sovereignty. So what NINAS is now saying, that what is putting us together, the basis of our union, is not the original basis of what the Nigerian Union is supposed to be. And what we have today has taken away our sovereignty. So NINAS is saying we need to get back our sovereignty. So on the 16th of December 2020, NINAS declared a constitutional force majeure on the Constitution, and gave the federal government 5 demands to action within 90 days, which were the first one was that the government should acknowledge the constitutional force majeure itself, and also acknowledge the constitutional grievances, and also acknowledge the sovereignty disputes that have been raised by that declaration. Then the second one was that the government should suspend the 1999 Constitution, or in other words, jettison the 1999 Constitution, that is, do away with it. Then the third one was that the government should suspend every election that is being run under that Constitution, because what NINAS is trying to do to get back the sovereignty of the people. The fourth demand was that the government should invite NINAS and work with NINAS to create a time bound for this transitioning from the old Constitution to what we are looking for, the People's Constitution, where the people actually decide on decide the terms of on what basis they want to be in a union with Nigeria. Then the fifth one was for the government to midwife a process to commence a process that will midwife a new constitution by 2 stages. The first stage being that the regions should go back to their regions and come up with a constitution that will be rectified by plebiscites and referendum. Then go back to the center based on the results of those referendum, decide on or renegotiate the federating terms, how these unions wants to be part of Nigeria. And those decisions could be, if we come with our terms, if the center is not fine with it, or if it's not okay with the other person, you could either say, oh, we want to continue, oh, we do not want to continue, we want to go on our own. So the NINAS strategy is a very important one. It's actually going to restore our sovereignty and give us the ability to decide how we want to be part of the union or how we do not want to be part of the union. So that is basically a summary of what NINAS is all about and where we are coming from. Hello, Jen. You're muted.
Okay, thank you very much, Donald. Again, the reason why we're going that is just for the benefit of those who may not have heard the information before, and for those of you who came on and didn't hear the very succinct way that Joseph Carey talked about it, the fact that it is prophetic, it's logical, it's well thought out. It hits all the marks that we need to make this successful. And really, at this point, as Donald said, all it needs is us. We now need to be able to move forward with it. Having the UN, the United Nations, be part of the process, having the US be part of the process, and also, and that's NINAS working as the Lower Niger Congress, the Movement for New Nigeria, and then all the other organizations that also work with the ICC, the UK, etc., just to sensitize the world is very important, but then now we need you. We need everyone. So this time we're going to be going into the part where this is all about you, all about your questions. So if you want to ask a questions, do please raise your hand, and then we will take that in order. We're also going to be having questions that have already been provided to us that will be answered. You know, some of those burning questions that will be answered. We're asking that everyone please do change your screen name from, you know, Galaxy A70 to your name, iPhone, whatever, to your name, so that we'll be able to ask you your questions. So do get your questions ready. We are going into the question and answer section of the program, and we do promise we're not going to hold you for too long. And right now, I don't see any hands raised for questions. And so I am going to call on Boyin Oladokun. She's going to ask us a first question. I believe there's one on the, about the 2023 election. Boyin, if you can read that question for us, that would be awesome.
Okay, thank you so much. The question that I want to ask has to do with the 1999 Constitution. The 1999 Constitution, with the amendments that that is being carried out now, that they intend carrying out now for 2023. Can we say a candidate should come from the middle belt?
So,
Hello?
So I think the question there is that we have the 2023 election that is gearing up, right? Everyone has seen that. And NINAS is saying that we need to shut down the 2023 election, but we've got candidates coming in from the middle belt to the south. The question, and I'm going to direct this to Dr. Clifford Irania, who is our specialist on all things Constitution today. Clifford, can you please answer that question? What are the chances of candidates from the middle belt to the south? If you can talk to us about that as it relates to the Constitution.
Thank you very much. And I welcome everybody to this question and answer session. Please, this is I don't know if I'm putting it correctly, Jean, it's called a no, is it a no holds barred or a no bars hold, you know?
No holds barred. Yes, any question is fair.
Yes, this is a no session. In other words, you can ask any and every question you want to ask, and we are here to answer it. Please, no question is stupid, no question is useless. Ask it, and we will answer. That's why we are here. Now, let me go straight to the point. And I also like to thank Media. I have not been doing that all this while. I must do that. I have to thank Media for Mazi. It's okay. Thank you very much for giving us the platform. Now, to the question. Before I do that, before I answer your question, Sister Bowen, let me just make this clear that what you are seeing here, this document I'm showing here, is called Decree number 24. It was promulgated on May 5. In Spanish, they call it Cinco Mayo. On the 5th of May, 1999, that's when this document was promulgated. And the very last paragraph you're seeing here, the last paragraph here on this is where they said that they hereby promulgate the 1979 Constitution into 1999 Constitution with amendments accordingly. Remember, in 79, we had 19 states. In 99, we had 36 states. So that's part of the amendment. So This is what activated what is called the 1999 Constitution. Like I said, it says in this bottom part that they are promulgating 1979 into 1999. Now, let me play the devil's advocate here and assume that we have a 1999 Constitution and that we are using it and that we are going into 2023 election, which is exactly the point or the question of Sister Boyne. And one thing I want to make clear is that since 1999 till date that they have been conducting presidential election, there has always been more than 2 candidates for presidential, and everybody will agree with me on that. Therefore, I'm going to answer Sister Boyne's question based on section 134, subsection 2 of the Constitution. Again, section 134, you may want to write it down, and Jane, the moderator can put the where I cited in the chat column. Section 134, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution. That is the section that says how a presidential candidate can be declared as a winner. Or rather, I'll put the other way, it is the condition under which somebody will be declared a winner of the presidential election. Again, section 134, subsection 2, where you have more than 2 candidates, which has always been the case all these years. Now, to your question, dear sister, let me read out what section 134, subsection 2 says. And I read, a person shall be qualified for the election, no, sorry, that's the wrong one, sorry. Section 134, subsection, it says, a candidate for an election to the office of president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where there being more than 2 candidates. Remember what I said, more than 2 candidates for the election. And that has always been the case in Nigeria. There has never been any presidential election where you had only 2 candidates. So that's why I'm citing this section. Being more than 2 candidates for the election, A, he has the highest number of votes cast at the election, that is nationally, when they tally all the votes for the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, when they tally it, that candidate will have the highest number among all the candidates. That's one condition. Second condition, B, he has no less than 1/4 of the votes cast at the election of at least 2/3 of each of the states of the Federation and the Capital Territory, Abuja. In other words, the person will also, in addition to having the highest number of votes, that person will have 25% of the votes cast in 24 states. Let me give an example. The candidate will have 25% of votes cast in Kebbi State, in Plateau State, in Nasarawa State, in Taraba, in Kwara, in Kogi, like that, for 24 states. So when you come back, and then, no, the third one, the person will also have 25% of the vote cast in Federal Capital Territory. So when you add everything total, there are 3 conditions, under which somebody can be declared a winner of a presidential election. Condition number 1, having the highest number of votes. Condition number 2, getting 25% of the vote in 24 states. Condition number 3, having 25% of the vote cast in Federal Capital Territory. 3 conditions. Now, let me address Sister Boyne. A candidate from the Middle Belt, and that candidate is not a candidate supported by the Fulanis, supported by the Caliphate, that is going to do the bidding, whatever they want. How can that candidate have the highest number of votes in the entire country? Let's say now, even APC picks up, I'm just throwing name there now, they pick up the current Benue State, or let's even say PDP, so that people will not say, how can, I'm not doing apple for apple. The current Benue State governor is PDP. And the APC, and he's become the PDP presidential candidate. And they pick Ojo Zokalo, who is from Abia State. APC picks him. Or David Umahi from Ebonyi State. APC picks him as their candidate. The Benue State governor, Autumn, is from the Middle Belt. Ojo Zokalo or David Umahi is from the Southeast. Considering the so-called population and then the skewed number of states we have that is within the Fulani Caliphate entity or geographical spread, is there a way Autumn will beat Ojo Zokalo or David Umahi, considering that Ojo Zokalo or David Umahi is standing in for APC and fully backed by the Fulanis? Is there a way a middle belt candidate with the kind of standing, with the kind of mindset, with the kind of position that Autumn has, will beat Ojo Zokalo or David Umahi, who is a stooge of the Fulanis? Considering section 134, subsection 2, that says that Autumn will have the highest number of votes cast in the entire country, 1. 2, we have 25% of the votes, 24 states, 3, and he will have 25% of the vote cast in Federal Capital Territory. Look at the two. APC, Ojo Zokalo or David Umahi, APC, supported by the Fulani. Governor Autumn of Benue, PDP, not supported by the Fulani. In other words, what I'm saying is that considering even the 1999 Constitution, playing the devil's alternative now or advocate, let me even say that we are not even decommissioning it. We are still working with it. We are maintaining the status quo. It is business as usual. And then we produce a presidential candidate from the Middle Belt that does not have the backing of the Fulanis or the Caliphate or the Sharia law. The answer is that person will never, ever win, considering section 134, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution. I don't know if I've dealt with Jean.
Yes, thank you very much. So basically, the question is, why do we have so many running to 2023? Is it because they don't understand how this is in the Constitution? I guess that's a question that a lot of them would have to answer, right? And that's why NINAS is saying, not only for that reason, but also because the Constitution is the vehicle that is used to bring back the 1999 Constitution. Because every general election, those elected officials have to swear to uphold that Constitution. And so that's how it gains its life, okay? But again, NINAS is calling and has been calling for the 2023 elections to be stopped if it's going to be under the 1999 Constitution, because we need to go to referendum and then determine what those new federating terms are, as Donald Ekpo mentioned earlier, okay? So thank you very much on that. So what this means to us is that everyone needs to be talking to their representatives in educating them about this whole thing, you know, because even if they get to be president, they really can't change much either. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go to another question, and I will stick with Boeing. I think you have another question on there regarding the amendment and what is. So if you could please do that one, that'd be awesome. And you need to unmute. And while we're waiting for her to unmute, Donald is going to be monitoring what's going on YouTube to see what questions are being asked there. And then he's going to be bringing those questions in as well. So, but on the forum, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat, and we'll bring that up. And also you can raise your hand so that we can pick up your question as well. Okay. Okay, boy.
Thank you, Jean. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes. The question I want to ask is about the decision of the Senate. They held a hearing on the 26th and 27th of May, and then it's on constitutional amendments. I want to know what is NINA's position about the exercise of the Senate?
Yes, Clifford.
Yes, thank you very much, Sister Boeing. NINA's position is very clear. The 1999 Constitution is a fraud. It was not made by, is a lie. It says we the people. It is not we the people. I am coming back to this again. This was how the 1999 Constitution was made. This document I'm holding right here in my phone is Decree number 24. It was promulgated on 5th of May 5 of 1999. Cinco de Mayo, May 5, 1999. That's when it was promulgated. And he says, we the people. It is a lie. We the people never made it. And in the last paragraph of this decree, he says, we therefore transform the 1979 Constitution into the 1999 Constitution with necessary adjustment. And when you go back to the 1979 Constitution, it was not made by we the people. Even when Obasanjo selected handpicked members of Constituent Assembly, they still raised objections, and Obasanjo ignored threw away the objection in broadcast of September 21st, 1978. It's an amendment. So it is that same
Hold on, Dr. Clifford. Everybody should please mute their lines because I can hear some. So everyone needs to please mute their lines. This has been live streamed. So please mute your lines. Everyone mute your lines. Okay.
Should I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Galaxy A70, please mute your line. Galaxy A70, you need to change to your name and please mute your line. Go ahead, Dr. Clifford.
Right. So even when Obasanjo did all these things, the Constitution of 1979 was not properly activated. Now, fast forward to 1999. On the 5th of May, like I said, they promulgated a decree, 24, to bring the 1979 Constitution into 1999 with necessary adjustment. Again, not properly activated. You know, for anybody to make an argument, it's a military government, this and that, I'll refer the person to Ghana. Ghana was in the same situation Nigeria was, that is, with a military administration of J.J. Rawlings. After they did all they did on the Ghanaian constitution in 1996, they brought it out for people to vote yes or no. It is called referendum. Referendum simple means vote. That's another name for voting. And it's usually a yes or no vote. The Ghanaian constitution was prepared by the military. At the end of their exercise, they subjected that document to a vote by the citizens. So that when you open that document, it said, we the people, you can beat your chest and say, yes, we the people, because why? Because we voted in favor or not in favor. And so the 1999 Constitution never, ever was subjected to any of these processes. Number one, the citizens did not make it. Number two, it was not autochthonous. It was not subjected to a national or even a regional constitution. A referendum. That is why NINAS consider the 1999 Constitution as a fraud or a fraudulent document. By extension, it means that the National Assembly is a proceed, P-R-O-C-E-E-D. The National Assembly is a proceed of fraud. That's what it means. Because if you go to section 47 of that Constitution, it says that there shall be a National Assembly consisting of the House of Rep and the Senate. Then section 48 gives you the number 3 senators per state, and section 49 gives you 360 members of House of Rep. In other words, what I'm saying is that it is that Constitution that gives birth to the National Assembly, because it is inside the Constitution that in section 47 that is specified, it created the National Assembly, and 48 and 49 assigned the numbers. In other words, the National Assembly is a child of the Constitution, and the Constitution itself is a fraud. I am an engineer. In engineering, there is what is called a continuity equation in fluid mechanics. It says that if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, it means that A is equal to C. It's called a continuity equation in fluid dynamics. And so, if the Constitution is a fraud and the proceed that comes out of it, therefore, should be a fraud. It's very simple. Therefore, you have a proceed of fraud trying to legitimize a fraud that gave birth to it. Therefore, the NINA's position is that we are not going to give that process any legitimacy. We'll distance ourselves from it. The Constitution is a fraud, and the body that is trying to amend it is a proceed or a product of fraud. Therefore, everything is fraudulent, and NINAS will not be part of it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Clifford. I think that's clear enough. That Constitution was taken down December 16, 2020 through the constitutional force majeure. And that's why it's important that we stop the elections, because we do not want it coming back. Okay. And so as a fraudulent document, you cannot amend a fraudulent document. It's just like a, a bad check. Just got to tear it up, right? Just have to tear it up and throw it out. Okay. So we have some questions. Vincent, are you monitoring what's going on with the questions? We've got a couple of questions. Vincent, can you unmute? Yeah, we have a couple of questions. If you could take over.
Yes, I'm trying to check on those who have questions, but I can't see any hand up right now.
Okay, we have Alexander, and first of all, I think Dr. A. Dr. A, you're gonna have to give us your name. Dr. A doesn't quite work. So, but there's Dr. A. So Dr. A, go ahead and ask your question. Yeah, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Dr. Anthony Adenero. I'm calling from the city of Chicago. We have all agreed, we all understand that the Constitution is down. And I believe this forum is about enlightenment. Why are we still entertaining questions about referendum, about the election, when we're already beyond that at this stage? Why do we still continue to entertain the fact that we're going to be together? It's beyond that. There's no point going back. What do we need to do going forward is the question now. How do we move forward to the referendum stage? We already gone past this. Or should we have somebody from the middle belt? Should we have somebody from the lower belt? That is beyond. We are beyond that. What do we need to do? This is at this point. We should be telling our people, what should we do to get to the referendum? My question is, how do we get to the referendum? Entertaining the Constitution is beyond. We are beyond that. It's been dissolved as of last year. What do we do? What do we need to do to get to that referendum? Question, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just going to answer that, so that we can move on. That's a great question, actually. As you know, these series that we're doing is where people can ask the questions, because there's a lot of people that are not familiar with, all the nuances of, the NINAS message. And so as we go through these sessions, we try to address those questions, because people are seeing that there are candidates out there. And so they're asking the question, well, what does that really mean? Yes, right now we are in the sensitization and mobilization phase, but people need to understand what's going on so that you can mobilize them, Dr. A. And so that's why we're having these series. And that's why we're answering these questions, because we all need to be clear on what we're doing and how we're doing it. And at the end of this session, we are going to be talking about the call to action. What specifically do we need to be doing? But again, not everyone understands why the Constitution is evil. Not everyone understands that it is an apartheid document. Not everyone understands that it is the document that actually pulled Nigeria together when Nigeria was supposed to be apart, except under a central government. There's a lot of people that, and we're not there to understand that there were 4 regions, right? And so when somebody says, oh, it's secession, or it's breaking up, or it's separating, they're not able to say, well, wait a minute, no, wait. We were separated, but one. Nigeria is one, right? It was one with 4 separate governments, 4 separate constitutions. They had charge of their regions, they had charge of their space, and there was a small center that was rotated. And so that's why we're trying to make sure that people understand that. Once they're sensitized to that, then they can, rise up and do the things that need to be done. Okay.
Thank you.
Have any other add to that? Any other panelists?
Yes, I would like to add also, Jean, that every day, or not every day, every time we have this get together, we have new people who really do not understand where we started from. So if they ask questions, it is our duty or responsibility to answer and bring them up to speed. And every day, like you just said it before, every day people are coming across NINAS. What is this body about? What are they about? And then as they do that, they ask questions. No matter how rudimentary or how far, how it takes us back, we have to also answer them to bring them up to speed, because not everybody is up to speed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And I would also like to add to what Clifford said. You know, the question Dr. A asked on what Dr. A asked. He says we already have the we already declared the constitutional force majeure, and why are we not just why are we not talking about the referendum? We need to know that we need to understand that we need the critical mass, because you need to have a certain you need to have the bandwagon effect to achieve what we are talking about. That bandwagon effect is where we are now, because we are actually activating the people power. We need to have, there's a period where we need to have that critical mass. And that is exactly why we have the sessions to talk about, like Jean said, to educate people, to bring people together, to work as one. You know, but if you have 50 million people saying the same thing at the same time, the 1,000 people controlling, oppressing the people will have no say. So it is very important that we pass the message, we keep passing the message till we have the critical mass that is required to achieve what we need to do. And NINAS gave 120 days to achieve that. So that's exactly what we're doing. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And Jean, maybe
Yes.
I wanted to add that what Dr. A was, I have a feeling that he's trying to get the information about the way forward after this mass mobilization. Are we talking to any external body like the UN? How do we go into a referendum? I don't know whether Donald Egbo can give us a word on that for the education of all. Are we just mobilizing within Nigeria, and how do we get from this stage to the next stage to referendum? Donald Egbo or Jean, please give a word for the people to get understanding.
Actually, I see Seb. Seb, did you want to answer that question, Seb, in Germany?
Yeah,
did you want to ask that question as to how we get to referendum?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Vincent, for that question. And thank you, Dr. Adenira. I'm happy you are here today. It's important to know that NINAS is in constant communication with the United Nations and the Congress of America. It's important to know that. But we are not gonna start publishing everything every day for everybody. The important thing is, please try to follow the pathway that NINA has defined. This journey is on the 21st year of it. It took 20 years. It's now on the 21st year. And there have been milestones which we have followed. There are 16 steps. And right now we are on the 15th, second to last step. This step is where you are needed. This step is, as Donald said, is where critical mass is needed. We need each and every one of us to activate in a chain formula our contacts, our relatives, everybody. The first step everyone needs to do, and we need to have that done in millions, is to go online and sign the petition. First thing, go online and sign the petition. And visit this meeting every week. Every time we call this meeting, visit it. Because we might be opening another page, so that when we open another page, you see it immediately and you go into action. There are things that might be premature to be said today, but in a week time, it becomes correct to say it. So for today, for today and for yesterday, we need signatures, signatures, and signatures. That's what we need in critical mass. Do you know where to sign the signature?
Donald, can you please post the link to the petition?
I will put it to the chat.
Absolutely, thank
I
you.
put it to the chat. And if you have difficulty copying from the chat, let us know. We find a way to help you. It's important to get signatures signed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seb, for that clarification. Yes, please, when you sign up, make sure that you are reaching out to everyone in your family, your friends, the alumni, your professional organizations that you know where Nigerians are, and get them to sign as well, because that's kind of where we're headed, is making sure that we capture everyone, okay? So Vincent, can you see the people who have raised their hands yet?
There is none right now that is online raising hand. So I guess everyone is satisfied.
Okay, I've got Alexander Edum. And I know you asked a question, a thought-provoking question the last time. So if you can go ahead and ask your question, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Good evening, Sister Jane, and good evening, everyone in Nigeria and diaspora. I want to thank God for coming across NINAS. It's an answer to prayers over the years on the Nigerian project. I am very, very burdened. My name is Pastor Alexander Edun. I'm in Edo State. I'm going to come from two perspectives. Number one, from the civil society organization, then number two, from the church. Now, from the civil society organization, there are people in the civil society organization like Olisa Agbakoba, who was once the president of NBA, who seems not to have this idea of NINAS. I was in the platform of Fixed Politics, organized by Obi, Kulese, and one of the panelists was Olisa Agbakoba. He's not having this NINAS vision. I don't know how the leadership in Nigeria could reach out to people like him and other civil society organization leaders that have voice or whose voice matters in Nigeria. People like Ozekeme, the San, people like Falana and all the rest of them. Now, I am aware that God used Wole Soyinka to make a way for NINAS to get to United Nations. And I think he has to begin to talk about NINAS because he's so silent over this matter. So please, leadership in NINAS, let's see how we can get across to civil organization people in Nigeria. That's number one. Then number two, on the side of the church, I will post it on the platform of NINAS later. I want to say that the Christian Association of Nigeria leadership in Edo State have taken a position that the 1999 constitution does not need amendment, but we need a new constitution. That is to say, CAN in Edo State is taking the position of NINAS.
Awesome.
I will post the details on the platform later by the grace of God. Now, the church leadership in Nigeria, those that have voice, what are we doing? Because time is going. Time is of the essence. Leadership of churches in Nigeria with large followership. NINAS should see how to meet with them one-on-one and let them have this understanding, because I see it as a spiritual diabolical witchcraft for those in the church that do not have understanding of what NINAS is all about. That the 1999 constitution is a fraud. We don't need any amendment. From the word go, We, the people, do not have any input in that constitution. So what are you amending? So if we don't have understanding, I see it as a big spiritual manipulation on us. So let NINAS leadership in Nigeria see what can be done, because time is of the essence. And I'm very, very burdened. In my own little corner, by the grace of God, I am making efforts to reach out to people to have the understanding. There's no, anytime we gather in our own little congregation, I talk about NINAS. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about NINAS again in the church. And we're going to pray for NINAS leadership. So please, we need real mobilization. The church, reach out to the Catholic leadership, reach out to the Pentecostal leadership, reach out to the Baptist leadership. The man that is heading CAN nationally, Dr. Ayekoli, is he aware of NINAS? Does he have this knowledge of NINAS? He needs to be reached. Let me rest my case here. Thank you very much, man.
Okay, thank you very much. Those were very salient points, and they're really all in the mobilization plan. And all those people that you actually been talking about have been contacted all along, all these years. All of those contacts have been made. I don't know how many of you saw the Adefarassin video that went viral around the world, where he was talking about the fact that the 2023 election needed to be shut down. And then there was the other video where Tony and Nadi went to church, and and in fact, he had actually spoken to Pastor Adefarassin a couple of years before, to bring him this message, as he did with Inenche and some of the other ones as well. In fairness to everyone, this is a difficult concept. Constitutional force, what? It's a difficult concept to understand how that three-letter word can lead to our freedom. And that's why it's important for us to have these sessions so that people really understand what it is, okay? Because the Constitution is a social contract, and the constitutional force majeure is a way of taking down a contract that is fraudulent, okay? So when you take down that contract that is fraudulent, then we can get freedom, okay? So a lot of people did not quite understand it, but now that it has been proclaimed and they see what it's doing, the success that it's having, people are now starting to understand it. They now understand, because a lot of people were thinking, well, there's no teeth in it. And then they were like, oh, wait, oh, you mean that if we, renounce that, we decommission it, we jettison it, we end it, we say that we reject it as a basis of Nigeria, we get our space back? Mm-hmm. It means that we can say that we will not have open grazing and the government cannot say anything? Uh-huh. It means that we can tell people in our forest to leave and they have to leave and the government can't say anything? Yes, it does all of that. So that's the power that is in it, okay? And that's what people need to understand. And it was a difficult concept, and it took a lot of people a few years to understand. But as you can see, there's a lot of people understand it now. There's a lot of energy behind it because people are now understanding what it actually means. Okay? So thank you very much for bringing that up. We are,
please.
in Edo State, we'll be looking for them to make a public statement about that, because it is important. When the church rises up and starts speaking, then people will start listening and understand that we are on the path. Okay, so we'll be reaching out to them to, to make that statement. Okay. Now we're going to switch to the social media. Donald, you have a question from social media. All questions. So I'll come over to you, and then after that, we'll continue taking questions in here.
I see a hand up. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna go around so that we can cover people. So
question from Bonnie Ogwo from YouTube. It says, my question is, why can't each organization do their work without castigating each other?
Okay, can you try to elaborate a little bit? Because I see like Clifford wants to answer that.
Well, I can answer that too.
Okay, so we'll have Dr. Clifford, and then we'll have Seb as well answer. Just keep the that's short, and clean.
Yeah, thank you. If I go first before Seb, the I don't know the angle the person asking the question is coming from, but I believe that in all the public engagement of NINAS, press statement or media presentations, we have been razor sharp focused on the target, which is decommissioning of the 1999 Constitution and the enthronement of a transitioning body that will conduct regional referendum of stay or leave decision that will now result into either a federation, a confederation, or a non-federation. These are the topics. These are the things that NINAS have been focusing on. Well, if there is any other organization that is making unprofessional comment or abuses or whatever, I don't know about that. NINAS is not bothered about it. NINAS is focused on bringing down the 1999 Constitution, and I don't think we are involved in any tittle-tattle, exchanging with anybody, at least as far as I know. All right, Seb, your turn.
Yes, I think you've answered it very well, Dr. Cliff. I may simply add, NINAS has the name to defend. And if by any implication, an impression is being created that NINAS is doing something or is aligning itself with an organization which is doing something that is contrary to the prescriptions of the United Nations, then NINAS has the imperative to clarify its position. So by such clarifications, one might get an impression that NINAS is, how was the question put?
Castigating.
Is castigating the organization in question. But we have to understand, we have to know that if we step out of the norms of the international community, then we are shooting ourselves on the feet. We have to adhere to accepted norms of behavior, and then the international community will be behind us. It's as simple as that. The United Nations washes its hands very quickly of any organization that takes things, that goes its own way against the norms that are acceptable. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm just
Okay,
gonna add.
I would want a follow-up question to say, but you say the norms that are accepted and the ones that are not accepted. Please, can you clarify on that?
Let me let me give you an example. Just just the other week, Hamas started shooting rockets into Israel, right? Okay. Israel demolished a lot of infrastructure of Hamas. The United Nations knows that those infrastructures that were demolished, that they cost Hamas, they cost the Palestinians a lot to build. But believe you me, the United Nations is not losing sleep over that conflict, because Hamas went out of its way to do things against the norms. You don't shoot rockets on civilians, okay? So that's just an example. There are various forms of behavior that freedom fighters are expected to apply, do demonstrations. You see the Southwest Bloc, they have been doing demonstrations, massive demonstrations, right? Why are they not being shot these days?
Rallies.
Yes, they are not being shot these days because of the constitutional force majeure. The world powers have told the government in Nigeria that they are watching, okay? And the people demonstrating in the Southwest are behaving according to accepted international norms of behavior. I think I will stop here.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think the other thing that we have to bear in mind is really seeing that we keep our people protected as well. You know, the things and the decisions that we make, we need to be looking at what the counter might be to those decisions or the doors that it might even open. Okay, so it's always good to kind of, when you are doing something, especially in the space that we're in, that, you know, all the organizations are mindful of what the counter reaction is going to be. Okay, so we want to keep everyone as safe as possible, and that's kind of what we need to do. Donald, I know you have another question, and then we'll be back here on the platform to get other people's questions. Donald, next question. You are muted, Donald. You need to unmute yourself.
Sorry. Okay. We have a question from Yomi Flade. She says, when will NINAS give us a new constitution?
That is a very good question. And
please, just a minute. The hosts, the people on YouTube want the I don't know what that means, to change the visualization to the gallery view.
I don't think it's necessary gallery view on YouTube. It's better the way.
They said so that the participants on the call be seen simultaneously. This is a key, so viewers will not think it's just a handful of
no, Donald, it's not.
No, I'm just communicating the messages here. I don't have to agree with it. I'm just communicating their messages.
You are right, but you don't need to put a gallery view. There are many people here and there.
Okay, so
can I?
Okay, well, let's get moving. Let's get moving so we can get some more great questions. I see Chinedu is with us, and I see Johnny. Question is to either one of you: when is NINAS going to get us our new constitution? Either one of you can answer.
Oh, okay.
When is NINAS?
Johnny, you are muted.
Johnny, you are muted.
Johnny, you are muted.
Oh, yes. Chinedu, somebody, I just logged in, actually. I'm doing a combination of things. I'm in the,
okay.
I had to run into the office emergency, so I just came in and you threw a question at me.
Okay, no worries.
Somebody else take that one. I'm watching, but I will come in with another question, with another answer.
Chinedu, can you unmute to answer the question?
Cliff is ready for it.
Okay. I'll give somebody else an opportunity. Chinedu, you're welcome.
Okay.
Answer the question. In that new constitution.
Okay, yeah. I just came in, but I can actually say something about it. The NINAS is not planning to give a Nigerian constitution. A constitution is made up of the constituents. It will be made by the constituents. So NINAS is in an alliance of the Middle Belt, of the Lower Niger, of the Odua, and every other group. So the groups will sit down and make their constitution. And if the alliance agrees that they can work together, something semblance of what you have in the European Union or any of those places. So they can have a constitution each individually and then decide how they will relate. I'll just put it like that. I'm just coming in, but I just put it like
That's
that.
fine. Again, this is a journey that we're going on, right? We're talking about mass mobilization. Why are we mass mobilizing, right? You have to go to referendum first to determine, like the people have to make the choice. Constitutions are made by people, okay? So NINAS cannot give a constitution. NINAS is helping with a process, right? Working with the UN with a process to go through that referendum. And then at that point, depending on how that works out, then the people, now they have their people that's now going to make the constitution. So it's not something that NINAS can actually give. NINAS is facilitating the process. But first, we need people to get engaged in the process, sign the petitions, stop the 2023 elections, okay, because we need to mobilize to get that stopped. Then we go to a referendum. The way this was supposed to happen, okay, similar to what happened in South Africa when they took down the apartheid, is that in the time that the people are getting ready to go to the referendum, there's a transition government. And the federal government was invited to be part of that process, but they declined to be part of the process, which is fine. And I'll answer the question that is burning on everybody's tongue right now. No, we don't need the government to say yes. We are ethnic nationalities. Our right to our sovereignty cannot be taken from us. It's called inalienable. It cannot be taken from you. If it's hijacked and you come back and you want it back, you get it back. So self-determination is not secession, it's not breaking up, it's not whatever it is that they call it. Self-determination is a right of ethnic nationalities, okay? And so the ethnic nationalities need to do their thing in their blocks. And I can also say, like right now, charter of relationships are going on in the different places where, the different, like the Lower Niger, for instance, which is the South and the Southeast, have lots of different, peoples, the Igbo, the Ijaw, the Yoruba, the Efik, there's all kinds of, people there. And so they need to have a charter of relationship of how they're going to relate to each other in that federation. But do we know the result of the referendum? No. Do we think, have we talked to enough people to know what the people want? Yes, but we have to kind of go through that process. Okay, so now we're going to come back in here. Vincent, we've got a couple of people with their hands up. I saw Boeing, she had her hand up first, and then Eugene. Vincent, are you still with us? Okay, so I'm just going to call on Boeing to ask her question. She's here in the meeting. Boeing, do you want to ask?
Okay.
You need to unmute to ask us a question. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening. So I'm going to go to Eugene. I'm going to ask you to unmute and ask your question, and then we'll come back to Boeing once.
Okay. Thank you for allowing me to come in and ask my question. Presently, it has been ongoing lots of killing in the Eastern Zone, killing of innocent people who are not even armed or demonstrating by professional soldiers of the Nigerian government. Have we or the legal people in this forum thought about any means to slow or stop these killings? Because it's being conducted by soldiers who probably signed on. I don't know if Nigeria signed on the Geneva Convention. So is there any means to bring some legal aspects of this, maybe to slow or stop them?
Okay, Clifford can answer that question, and then I can provide some general information on the legal, some of the legal things that are kind of going on in that are either going on in the background or getting ready to get started. But go ahead, Clifford.
Okay, thank you very much. I just want to say that, the so-called genocide or the killing, you find out that it is the Constitution, the same thing we are talking about. It is that constitution that is empowering those people that are doing the killing. Where we reside, where Jim and I reside, you have the right to bear arms and defend yourself.
Yes.
But over there, the Constitution in Section 4, subsection 2, and the Schedule 1, Part 1, denies you that right. And that is why it is very, very important that those from the Southeast should do everything they can to support the organization in that block that is part of the NINAS alliance partners, the Lower Niger Congress, and support them to push for the decommissioning of this constitution, which is empowering the military to commit genocide. I don't want to go into all those other intricacies of doing what we call an RCA, a root cause analysis of actually why the genocide happened, because it didn't just happen overnight. Something caused it. But I don't want to go there because where I come from, we have a proverb that, I mean, if you see a kite, you know, running away with the child of a fowl, you first of all do what you can to dispossess that kite of that little fowl, and then you come back later to talk about what really happened. So the problem, the issue we're talking about now is it is disempowering, if there's any word like that, removing that power from those who have been empowered and emboldened to conduct that genocide. And the only way we can do that is to shut down that document that is empowering them. And we need the people, like Jane said, we need the people of Southeast to come out and support what we are doing. And we will end this genocide. I'll stop here for Donald to chip in.
Donald, were you going to chip in? I don't think he was going to chip in. So with regards to, you know, like, and I see Joseph Carey is going to answer, is going to speak. But with regards to, you know, legal way, the constitutional force majeure actually gives the people the right to protect themselves. But outside of that, and this is what we also have to be, we have to be communicating. Outside of that, you know, El Rufai came out and said the federal government cannot protect you, okay? And then the defense minister called on the citizens. I think he said we were cowards, that we did not use our forks and knives to go against AK-47s, right? But he did say you should defend yourself. And, you know, both Nigeria and international law says that we should defend ourselves, okay? And so, you know, and you hear Governor Autumn that is saying, you know, get your bows and arrows, get your machetes, get whatever it is that you need to get, because if someone comes at you, you have the right to defend yourself. And so, you know, this is that space where we can defend ourselves. Now, when we have the military, and in a lot of cases, we know it's not really the military, is the, you know, quote unquote bandits, you know, gunmen, kidnappers, Boko Haram, Fulani herdsmen, Fulani not herdsmen, people from Niger, Chad, you know, wherever it is that they're coming into Nigeria from, we know a lot of them are putting on those uniforms and doing the things that they're doing, right? So we have to get, you know, smarter in the way that we do our security and in the way that we gear our people up to be able to protect themselves until we can get to a place where this is not, you know, no longer the issue. So I'll let Joseph Carey make a statement.
Yes, thank you, Jane, for that clarification for individual communities to mobilize self-defense, which is very important. I think we need to conscientize and mobilize our people to either as a group or individuals or communities to mobilize and self-defense. However, I think it's not out of place for NINAS to look inwards and see in our legal framework or legal experts to see what can NINAS do in the meantime. Maybe a write-up or taking something or court or work with some organizations like someone mentioned about civil society organizations, work hand in hand with them to start to either make that case to the United Nations or the case of genocide in the Middle Belt. Remember, I mentioned that Southern Kaduna when I started joining, I raised those questions that in the meantime, people are being killed and displaced. What can NINAS do? I think it's not too late. It's not out of place for NINAS to look inwards and see whether there could be a representative or working with a group of people to mobilize people to defend themselves or represent the United Nations, whatever body that can help to ameliorate the suffering. So, okay.
Yeah, there are quite a number of people here who are aware of the fact that there are things that are being readied to, in that regard. And, we have people who are stepped up to, to be, part of that process. We're working with the civil societies that have the type of information that we need to be able to go to the different bodies, different legal bodies to actually present a case for what's going on. And that's in process right now. So it's not just the people who have been killed, which at this point we're probably at 110,000 or more that have been killed. We've got over 4 million displaced, over 300,000 refugees. So there's, those that are raped, kidnapped, terrorized, there's a lot of that is going on right now. So, there is a process that you'll probably start hearing about, in the coming, weeks and months, that is going on. But I'll also mention that there is one that's actually already out there, which is, there's a loan that was being taken from China, which we know we don't want any money coming into Nigeria to give them more guns. And there is a lawsuit that at least had been filed to stop that from happening, because if you deny money coming into the system, that actually helps to kind of reduce, so another group has, took that up. And then NINAS is working with a couple of other groups with regards to the legal process. So that's actually underway. Okay, so let us move on to, we've got questions. I see LSN. If you can change to your name, that would be great. And I'm afraid to ask Johnny what question he has.
It's not really a question. It's to point out that the constitutional force majeure is a dispute. It's a union dispute. There is a constitution, and then there is this dispute that says we did not make the constitution, and in a very elaborate way specified how we did not make it, how it is a forgery, how it is an illegal document. And when people move on the power, people who want protection from the excesses of Nigeria power and abuse, they are actually in a position where they can raise that instrument as reason, that constitutional force majeure, to say they are in our space, but on the power of this dispute, the constitutional force majeure, we challenge your authority to do X, Y, Z. Constitutional force majeure essentially is somebody saying, we are married, and you say, no, we're not. So it is a union dispute, and we should be people that come under the force majeure, that cite the force majeure as reason, can actually protect themselves from the excesses of what Nigeria is doing right now. Our people in the Southeast should understand that there is a document that is challenging the constitutionality, the legality of that constitution. And on that basis, should be able to rise up and raise it up and say, on account of this, you cannot be in our space with armored cars killing people based on the constitutional force majeure. Thank Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, we have a question here from Dr. Lucy. She has a question. And then I think we have other questions coming in from the social media as well. But Dr. Lucy, if you can unmute and ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Jean, and thank you, everybody. Well done, Ninas. Mine is not really, I have a question and I have a suggestion. The question is, I know Dr. Clifford spoke about the 30 days notice. If you could explain that, that would be helpful. And then the suggestion is, Ninas, I guess from what we have heard this evening is that the next milestone is the referendum. And the referendum is going to be the people deciding yes, no, or whatever it is going to come out. So that means the mobilization is the most critical next thing. And we know that in Nigeria, the literacy level is very, very low. Most people don't have access to internet. Many don't even know how to use Zoom. Some people don't speak English. So how is NINAS going? Somebody had suggested the CSO. Somebody has also mentioned the religious organizations. And I also suggested the tribal groups within the 3 regions. They all have tribal associations and they have leaders. Those leaders could be engaged and then made to go do like a training of trainer, pass the word to get home to the local governments, because that is the same way we've had in the time past, very qualified, experienced people stand up for election. They don't get elected because the masses don't get reached, and it's those people that reach them. So if NINAS doesn't get to the masses, the outcome of that referendum could be tilted and will affect everything else being done. Fact is that people are ready for this message. It needs to be in different tribes, not just English, you know, the major tribes and all that, short jingles because people don't read, we're not intellectually sound, short messages and jingles. And then addressing the press. I wish that NINAS will have a session like this that is just about bringing the journalists to come and understand and let them go do the work. So that's a suggestion. And then if we could explain the 30 days notice invitation, that would be nice. Well done, everybody. Good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question and then for the suggestions as well. So I'll let Clifford talk about the 30 days. But if you can kind of put it in context, Clifford, about really the whole constitutional force majeure timing would be great. You know, if you can start from, you know, the 90 days to the 30 to the 120.
Okay, thank you very much. I was having a hard time trying to hear what she was saying because the voice was a little bit low. I had to, you know, take my volume all the way to the end. But I think you kind of explained it further what the question was. Now the thing is, NINAS is an organization or is a platform that, you know, carries out its activities methodically in a very logical form, because we want to make sure we remove every single iota of doubt or, you know, impediment. Because people will ask, okay, you declared a dispute, you declared constitutional force majeure. There are 3 levels to it. 1, did you get the government involved? One aspect. Second aspect, you say government. Government is an institution. It's made up of people. And when you talk about people, you talk about people with respect to their geographical location. So the second question will be, did you talk to the people? You talked about government now. Did you talk to the people who are from your own area or who are from the NINAS territory in terms of those people that are in government? Then the last one is, okay, you talk to the government, you talk to the people. Did you also make your views and the dispute known to the public as well as the international body? These are the things that NINAS considered. I'm answering the question of our sister now. First of all, the NINAS gave a 90-day window to the government. And when that expired and the government did not respond, NINAS moved to the second phase, which is the second point I talked about. That is the people representing us in government. That's the 30 days you are talking about in your question. NINAS now gave a 30-day window for the politicians, for our people in different levels of government to come and have a conversation with us, that's with the NINA. That is the 30 days you talked about. Beyond that 30 days, and when that 30 days expired, and there was no movement from, or no response from the people, NINAS went further to make sure that it does not leave any loophole, now gave 120 days, not just to the government, not just to our representative in government, but to the public and the international. And within that 30 days, 120 days, we're going to have the enlightenment, the mobilization, and the enforcement. And that's the thing going on right now. So specifically, I think your question was addressing the second phase of it, which is the 30 days. The 30 days was to let our people in government, in politics, in high places, to come and have conversation with us. That's what that 30 days was about. Unfortunately, they did not honor that. But like Jean said, this is about the people. Constitutional force majeure is about the people. So whether those in government come or not, the indigenous nationalities that have come together to form NINAS, which, by the way, when we say NINAS, I hope everybody, we are all on the same page here. NINAS means Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. We're talking about the indigenous nationalities. So with or without those in politics, the indigenous nationalities still have their right to self-determination inalienable to them. Thank you. You are muted.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think that was very well said. And then Dr. Lucy had made other comments about the internet not being available. And, we talked about reaching out to the churches. Shex, I know that you are on here. I saw you earlier. So if you can kind of unmute would be fantastic and talk about, like the outreach, that is going on to the churches, and you can talk about that from the Southwest perspective. Shex, I see you over here. Are you still up here?
We still have we have two questions from the social media.
Right. Yes, we'll come back to that.
They are scrolling away. I can't catch them. That is why I need to ask them so they don't go too far.
Oh, okay. Okay. So why don't you go ahead and ask the question while I see what's going on with Shex. Okay, go ahead.
I need to scroll up. The first one was an important question, but I need to scroll to look for it. There's a second question. Okay. The first one was from Umenejogo Debuno. I can't pronounce it. Sorry for that. My question is, how will the constitutional force majeure or new constitution stop the Fulani terrorists from coming down to Igbo land to slaughter people in their farmlands and other places in the Middle Belt? That's the first question. I asked the second one, should it be noted down? Or we take this first?
Yeah, let's talk about that first.
Yes,
I've already responded on the chat. I don't know if you want me to say something, but I responded on the chat.
Yeah, just say something real quick so that we can move on, because I do want to get to the call to action.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah, and then
what I responded in the chat for those who didn't see it is that
the question is from the question is from the YouTube, so they are listening. They can't see the chats.
Yes, right. Yes, that's very good. That's very, yeah. So let me respond pretty quick. My response to Mr. Umenejogo Udebuna is that this is exactly what the NINAS is doing. By declaring the constitutional force majeure, and decommissioning of that constitution, we will remove that power, that thing that empowers the military to commit genocide. That power will be taken away from them. And when somebody knows, and I keep preparing this, Jean and I, where we live, you come into me and you know that I'm armed, and you're coming to me with armed, then you will be very careful how you come to me. So if we remove whatever empowers the military, and also not just empower them, what disenfranchise, what stops us from owning our own guns by virtue of Section 4, Subsection 2, and Schedule 2, Part 1 of the Constitution, which bars us, which stops us from owning our own arms. If that is removed, I guarantee you that this issue of genocide will come to an end, because what are we talking about? One soldier coming into a community of say 500 people, and they're all armed by virtue of the fact that the Constitution no longer stops them from arming themselves. It's going to stop. Thank you.
Okay. His question is not about the military. His question is, how is the constitutional force majeure or new constitution going to stop the Fulani terrorists from coming down to Igbo land to slaughter people in their families? It's not military. It's talking about the Fulani people.
Okay, but let me just answer that real quick. Let me answer that real quick.
No, Gene, before you leave, let me keep this. It's still whether military planning is still because the Constitution stops you from carrying arms, whereas they are the ones backing the Fulani. They are the Fulani headsmen themselves.
Okay.
But you cannot. First of all, I hope you are aware that they mopped up all the arms. They took away all the arms. You the Constitution as an excuse. So when that Constitution is no longer there, then you are free to own your own arms. When that Fulani man comes, you get him down before he can even know what's happening. That's what I'm saying.
Can you talk about the centralization, right, of security? If you can talk about that.
Exactly. In Schedule 2, Part 1, number 45 of the Constitution, it centralizes security, police, and everything. And so we cannot, there's no governor can authorize you to hold a gun. And in fact, if you go to Section 215 or 215 subsection 4, it tells you that if a governor gives an instruction to a police, no matter the level, even an ordinary recruit, that police will have to go back to Abuja to get approval before that police will obey a governor. And they are using the word, quote and unquote, chief security office. That is just nonsense in the sense that it doesn't hold practically. So centralization of arms, centralization of approval of owning or bearing arms, they are all in the Constitution. And when that Constitution goes down, all those things will go down. Any Fulani man coming to me is already a dead meat, because now I can have my gun and I'll go after him or her.
Okay, thank you very much.
Let me just add something there, please. Let me just add something. When the question came, because he said two things. He said, how does the constitutional force majeure or new constitution, how is it going to stop the Fulani terrorists? I think that when we have the people's constitution, it's like when Nigeria came to be, the 4 regions. If you're coming from some other place, you have limited rights. We're not going to have the unitary system that empowers this kind of thing. They're going to have regional constitutions that say exactly what they want. And based on the experiences that we have now concerning these people, I am not sure they are going to have that kind of free movement. When it is the people's constitution that also have a regional police, a regional security system that has its own laws that are different from the laws of the other people. So I think with the new constitution, that will be the people's constitution from different regions, will determine if they still want to have things like open grazing, of which definitely nobody's going to want to have that. Nobody's going to vote for that. If they want to have people coming from Mali and creating grazing routes, nobody's going to have that. So that killing from the Fulani terrorists is going to stop with the unitary Nigeria. Basically, I think that is what I think he wants to hear. Thank you very much.
Something else I want to quickly add here, Jane, please, is that we also have to bear in mind that Jane talked about the process. We take down the constitution, we have a transitional body, and then, you know, Jane was not so hard on this, but I want to be hard on this. And then a regional referendum to determine, in the first place, are we even going to continue as a union? That is the key. In fact, that is the bull's eye. That, you see that regional referendum, that is the key there.
Will determine if we want to be or not to be. So we don't have to worry about those people again, because we are 100% certain that 80% of the peoples of the Middle Belt and the South may not want to associate themselves with the killers again.
Get it.
So can I just take the second question that came in there before? I have some other ones I've not.
Okay, Donald, we're gonna pause. The
last question. It's an important question.
Yes, we will get to it, Donald. I need to get to the call to action, and then we'll continue with Q&A. We're always gonna run out of time with the call to action, and I do want to get to that today. And then we're gonna continue with questions. These are great questions, and that's why we're having this series, right? And so, guys, get your questions ready. You know, put up your hand, put it in the chat, and we'll call up on you. But right now, I want to call up Akuche. Akuche is going to talk to us about a call to action. Okay. Yes, we come to this place, but what does that mean for you and I? Do you need to do something? Is it important for you to do something? Okay. So Akuche, she got the NINAS message. She caught the fever. She made some videos. And it is running through all the platforms, running through all social media. And so right now, she's my poster child for social media engagement. So Uche, you are quite welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jean. And thank you everyone for being here and for all the intelligent questions and everything that's been coming through. It's been amazing. I'm so passionate about this cause because I know that this is our reality and this is the mandate from God. And we, as his children, we have been strategically put in this position to deliver the message to his people. So I'm so happy to be here. I just want to talk, quickly about a couple of things that we're doing. Some of the things that I want to touch on is first of all, is communication. Communication is such a big thing in this process, because like a lot of people had mentioned, so many people don't even understand what's happening. I have people say, what is wrong with the 1999 Constitution, right? I have people asking, what is in there that we should be worried about? We have to take these messages to everyone, right? So identifying some key factors, like what is causing the pain of the people? 1999 Constitution, what about it, right? I think it was Mr. Donald Echo, but I'm not sure, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but he was someone who had talked about the parts of the Constitution which cater to elections, right? And how someone from the middle belt cannot emerge, the chances are very slim if they're not being backed by, the Fulani Caliphate and all of that. So people need to understand some of these things, as the basis for our problems and our continued problem, right? Who's causing their pain? Minority Fulani Caliphate, who put the Constitution in place in the first place, right? And then how are we going to keep the political process, how are we going to keep this going, right? Is by getting that message out so that people understand that this is not a choice, it's not an option, right? This is something that everybody needs to buy key into. That's the way, like, you and I are here today. We keyed into this message and we know that there's something in there. Now we take it and then we run to the masses with it. I think that was the Dr. Lucy mentioned something not too long ago about maybe grassroots. I don't know if it was Dr. Lucy or someone else. So somebody mentioned about making jingles, taking the message to the grassroots people that don't understand. They can't conversate the way conversate, quote unquote, in the way you and I do. English, we have to break it down to them. We may need to get journalists involved, but there's so many people that are afraid for their lives. And I get these questions a lot where people are afraid to come out publicly to speak, right, about what is happening in Nigeria and how they can also play a part, they can play a role. And they feel like, oh, it's people that are abroad. And I said something to someone recently, and I said, look, they can't kill all of us. They can't. And when we have to start to have this mentality at the back of our minds, then we would be emboldened to move forward, right? So when we say things like that to people, it does go a long way. Using social media. Social media is such a huge platform that a lot of people don't really understand the impact of social media. One person sees your message and keys into it, and that person can share it to 10 other people, and maybe 3 people may like it from there, and they share it, and then it, the domino effect, and it keeps going. So we are at this stage where we've activated the people power, and we want as many people to sign the petition. I love what Dr. I think his name was Dr. Deniro, when he came on, and he's from Chicago, and he talked about, what are we doing right now? What's the next step? I'm like, that is where I am right now. I want to just move. But unfortunately, we can't move by ourselves. We have to move with the people, right? Because we're fighting for all of us. And this is such a great time in our lives where, for the first time in the history of our nation, we are coming together. This is now an alliance. It's not about Igbo people, it's not about Yoruba people, it's not about the Middle Belt. We are coming together as one, with one voice, and we're saying enough is enough, right? So I just want to, let us take this message, use radio, podcasts, reach out to people, marketplaces, villages, churches. Let this be our sermon. My video that Jean was talking about that I posted on social media, I was challenging the pastors, right? That's why it warms my heart when I hear people like Pastor Alexander Edu talk about the position of CAN in Edo State. This is the mandate that God has given us. We need to run with this, right? So, and then NINAS, what NINAS is doing to mobilize, NINAS is using the power of social media, right? Having these Zoom meetings weekly where we can educate people on, this is where we are, this is where we're coming from, this is where we are, and this is where we're going, right? Using radio, using podcasts, reaching out to people, marketplaces, grassroots everywhere, and keeping the international community, which is really key, right? Very key, keeping the international community up to date on what is going on. They're seeing these things, they're seeing the genocide, they're seeing all of this, right? But if we're saying that the people didn't make the Constitution, and then only 10,000 people out of how many million people come out and sign the petition, then what does that really say? So we need the power of people. We need everybody. It's on my WhatsApp. I put it on all my social media platforms now. I have the petition even in my bio, right? So that you can easily click on there. I post it every single day. My son is on here in this meeting right now, and thank you, Jay, for coming on here. He's a young adult, and I just said to him, come on here and listen, because some of our kids were born here. Some of our kids don't even understand, like, oh, why am I fighting for this? What is this about? Right? So this is, I'm not going to take so much time. I just want to empower us. This is our call to action, is to spread this message with holy aggression, is what I call it. Spread this message. Let us get to everyone. It's not a Christian thing. It's not about, being a Christian. They're Muslim people that are some of the nicest people that I've ever met. We all grew up together. The issue is the extremism of some Islamic, agenda. That's not what it's not like that. All the Muslims are not like that, because I think there was a question about this last Saturday where someone asked, can Muslims be a part of it? Absolutely. Yes, for sure. Right. So I just really thank you guys for being on here, taking the time. You could have been doing anything else, but you're here, you're getting the knowledge. Our freedom is, I can feel it. We're so close. We are so close. I want to energize you today, like, push, let me push you guys, right? Let me encourage you, let me energize you. Don't lose hope. I have someone on this Zoom meeting yesterday on my social media. He was sort of attacking me and saying, oh, you're in Canada, you're telling us what to do, we can't really do this and blah, blah, blah. And then we had like a communication. He's a convert now. He's on this meeting, right? Now he's spreading the word. He's, saying it everywhere and all of that. This is the power of the people. So thank you again, Jean. I'm just going to pass this back to you. Thank you guys for being here. We can achieve this together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, people, I've been given this analogy, but I want you guys to be given the analogy as well. Okay. It's in France in 1789, the elite, we have the elite in Nigeria, the ruling elite that have forgotten that they're there to serve the people. Let's be clear. We need to empower our people to understand that power belongs to them. Because, in Nigeria today, everyone is so afraid of a governor, so afraid. They are managers. We hired them. Yeah. And that needs to be clear. We need to let the people know that it is them that's important. And so in France, 1789, right? The ruling class, they would ride in their chariots of gold while a child is in the gutter trying to find food. They didn't even care. I see a direct connection to where we are in Nigeria today, where it's with the country of the governing, for the governing, and not for the people. But we, you, us, need to energize our people and remind them of who they are. It doesn't matter if they have rags on their back. It doesn't matter if their roof is leaking, right? They are the ones that hired those public servants. The government is a public servant to the people. And we need to turn that in our languages. So we're reaching out to people who are going to be translating our message into Igbo, into Pidgin. We have the Constitution. We have some messages in Pidgin. We translated it into Yoruba. We're translating it into Ijaw, Irobo, some of the main languages, right? Into Tiv, some of the main languages, so that we can reach our people. We're reaching our people through the churches. And I'm going to give, I saw Shex. Are you able to unmute? He can talk a little bit about the Christian movement in the Southwest. And then I also have Dr. Samuel Yange, and he can talk a little bit. Dr. Sam, I know you talked a little bit about that the last time. If you can just kind of talk a little bit about the Christian, not just from the prayer perspective, but also from an outreach perspective. So either one of you, Shex, can you unmute? Dr. Sam, can you guys speak about the engagement with the church a little bit, and then we can go back to asking questions? Okay, I can't seem to get either one of them to hear me.
Well, if not, I can make some addition to.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Right. Akuche has said it so well that I don't need to add much to it. But there is an idea I want to put across. In this meeting right now, the majority of people present are Christians. And among those Christians, a better part of them are paying tithes every month. So I want to make a suggestion to all of you that pay tithes every month. Would you be kind to mobilize in your church 2, 3, 4, 5 people who are also paying tithes to go and meet your pastor and tell your pastor that the condition of your paying tithes from next month, that's in 2 days' time, the condition for you to continue paying tithes to this branch of the church is that the pastor preaches NINAS constitutional force majeure on the pulpit starting next month.
I love
because
it.
This is our life.
Hallelujah.
It's our life, your future. Put your tithe to this movement. Put your tithe to your future. If the pastor refuses to preach it, go to another section, go to another church, another branch of the church. This is action. This is action. If we are waiting for politicians to help us, we are wasting our time. A senator gets some rough $600,000 a year.
Mhm.
And you want to tell him to
Minimally, that's minimally. That's just
to drop, yes, minimally. You want to tell him to drop it, right? Because he's a charity. He has become a holy senator. None of them is going to relinquish his post or her post. You are gonna take them down. We are going to take them down. If we don't do that, they are going to validate this fraudulent constitution again, and you and me will remain enslaved in this union. So it's time to get up. Look, it's not just your signature. Create a diary for yourself and be writing the people you have mobilized to add their signature. Be writing them. Be writing them. When you reach 100 people who have confirmed to you that they have signed, report to us for a prize, and you start afresh.
Make that 1,000. No, 100 at a time will be good. Yes.
Okay.
Jim,
okay.
please, I'd like to comment on this.
Okay, Vincent, please.
Go ahead, Vincent.
Thank you very much, sir. What you said on members of NINAS conditioning pastors on tithe, I think that is not the path we have to go. Everything we do is persuasion, because tithe is voluntary. Tithe is voluntary. Let's not use it as a condition for pastors to spread the message of NINAS. I am a pastor and I preach tithe. I pay tithe, and as a pastor, I know what I do with other pastors. I can win more pastors to this forum than the message of tithe. We should take our message to the generality of the public. I can go to my head pastor, my GO, like I mentioned some time ago.
Absolutely.
PFN is a very good platform, and we are already on it in Delta State. The pastor that spoke from Edo State, I would like to partner with him because he spoke about CAN position, and I would like to take a cue from that and get the PFN and CAN in Delta State to do something reasonable. So, but the point I want to make is that let nobody use tithe paying as a condition to condition their pastor to take NINAS to the congregation. No. We should persuade every pastor to preach the message, just like Paul the Pharisee did. It was not a tight condition. So I needed to make this comment. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. And that's a good comment, Vincent. That is a good comment. And reaching out to the churches is really important. And each one of us, is responsible to go to our pastors and talk to them about the message. There's compelling reasons, people. There's compelling reasons. This is apartheid. This is a place where people's freedom, okay, just the freedom to be alive has been taken away with impunity, meaning that the perpetrators are not being taken to justice. A lot of those perpetrators, Mieti Allah, paid 100 billion naira to stop kidnapping for 2 years. That's a crime. Why are they being paid to stop committing a crime? Am I missing something? Bandits? Oh, the governor's going to take pictures with them with their guns. You're paying them and you leave them with guns to kill our people? What kind of government is that? In a democracy, it is the responsibility of the government to take care of the people. And let me tell you this, people. Let me tell you this, because this is what you need to be talking to people about, okay? This is what you need to be talking to people about so they actually understand what's going on. They said that you decided, that's you, me, us, we, decided that we really don't need any benefits. So all those benefits we have in Chapter 2 of the Constitution, We said, oh, you know, we really don't need to enforce that. Will any of you do that? You guys need to be out talking so that the world understands what the problem is. In chapter 1 of that same constitution, it says that you cannot go to court to enforce any of your benefits. Would any of you do that? We're not idiots. We're not idiots, but it needs your voice. It needs your passion. It needs your voice. Not just to people at home, not just to our people in the diaspora, but to the international community, so they understand the gravity of what we're talking about. We can't even elect our own people. We cannot have our own people elected. Let's not even talk about the magnitude of the theft of our resources. We're Kano State that has no oil, but because they're the ones that did the Constitution, now get more revenue than Imo, Abia, Bayelsa. In fact, they actually get more with them combined. Why? Because they use population, land size. You know what? You don't have, a blind man can see that the land size in the far north, it greatly exceeds. You don't even have to measure it, okay? And then local government areas, that's convenient, since they set up the local government areas so that most of it is up in the far north where they reside. You guys need to understand the message. You need to understand what's wrong, because then you can get other people to rise up, okay? No, we are not idiots. We didn't take away our own benefits. We're not idiots. We didn't say federal character should not be enforceable. We're not idiots. We didn't say a president cannot come from our own area. We're not idiots. So let's stand up, speak up, let the world hear, and let's take down and bury that 1999 Constitution where it deserves to be buried, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna go to some more questions. We are at a little over the 2-hour mark, so we're just gonna take a few more questions, but I thank everyone that has been here speaking. I still don't see, I still see Shex, but for some reason he's not speaking. So I'm just gonna talk about the engagement with the pastors, because I think I talked about this a little bit.
Yes, let me talk about that for a second. Let me add something to that. Yes, do you know, there's something that Pastor Adefarasim said when he was making the statement in his church, the declaration in his church. And that was that this constitution, the nature of Nigeria, is standing in the way of your prayers. In other words, you're praying for your members to do well in life. You're praying for them to get jobs. Every pastor out there, and the pastors within the midst, the church leaders within the midst can attest to this. They all pray, they want the best for their members, they want them to prosper, they want them to have the great things of the good things of life. But there is something standing in the way of that prayer. And that is the conditions on ground that God himself has given us the power to change. That constitution is actually the nature of the nation. The unfertility of the ground is actually a hindrance to prayers coming to pass. So when a pastor understands that you can pray fast and do everything that you're doing for your members already, but if the ground is scorched, that prayer may not come to, that is not coming to pass. Your people are suffering, not because you're not praying enough for them, not because you're not praying the right messages, but there is something on the ground that is obstructing their blessing. They're standing in the way of their blessings. They finish school, they can't get jobs. The young men cannot marry because there's no job, there's no income. Young women are just abused. I mean, they're actually the worst victims in all of this. And you look at everything that is going on, you can nail it to that constitution and you can pray all day. So when a pastor understands, make your pastor understand that this thing is the hindrance. This is the devil standing between you and me having what you wish for me to have. This nation, the constitution. Thank you.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And that is a great point. I want to kind of get some more questions because we have some more questions and comments. Shex, I see you now.
Yes,
Can you talk a little bit about the engagement with the church in the Southwest?
Yeah, well, look, I'll just say a few words. Okay. First, that CAN has been wonderful. CAN is working all over the country now. I mean, I know that there is CAN is a national organization, but because of the nature of their work, it is decentralized. Essentially, each pastor is responsible for his flock. I mean, that is how the Church of God is really. So we've also taken note. We are doing what Dr. Alex suggested. There is direct advocacy with church leaders. But as I said, the power really rests with that man of God in the pulpit. And I'm going to go to what the last speaker said and the speaker before. When Pastor Paul first started his sermon on this, he referred to the foundational issue. That's really what the Constitution is. If you want to build and you have a bad foundation, you are just laboring in vain. And that is what has happened to Nigeria all of these years. And Paul explained it very clearly. That's why you see that there are Nigerians, they're the most brilliant people in the world. I mean, they have been appointed everywhere. But the country itself has a foundational problem, and that's that Constitution. And I can tell you for a fact, if we change that Constitution and put a brand new one, Nigeria will be the country of our dreams that all of you have been dreaming of for your children. I think we all recognize that the church has a frontline role to play because of our faith and our belief. I appreciate the comments of Madam Atuche, who spoke earlier on as well. So I just thought I should say a few words, and it's very encouraging to see that we're all on the same page. Dr. Alex, he's nailed it on the head. So work is going on, but everybody here, that's why we're all here, because we can't do enough. We need to spread the message through the churches and then through our friends, our families, and then go down, down, down. We need to go down to the grassroots as well. So you need to discuss with your housemates, discuss with your drivers. Everybody's on the same page. Everybody is tired. They've seen where the old order has brought us to. So we just thank God that He is shedding more and more light onto the path as we're going along. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to have Uche that would talk a little bit about the call to action, because this is a really important part. And then we'll come, we've got a couple of hands up. Imoro and Thomas will grab your questions. I'm hoping that we can kind of be done by like in another 19 minutes. So I'm going to come to Uche. Uche, if you can do your contribution, you can unmute yourself. I can't see where you are. So if you can unmute yourself and make the contribution to the call to action, because that's really important, because we're now, people power has been activated and we need to go get it. We need to take, the power back, like happened in the French Revolution. If they could do it back in the day with nothing, we are more than able. Okay, Uche, where are you? Unmute.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great.
And I still don't have your information anyway.
I actually sent it. I sent an email to both you and Seb.
Okay.
And I did, but in any case, we can take that offline. But
okay.
I definitely did send you an email.
Awesome.
Okay. Yes. Thanks, Jean. I think my contribution here is just an idea to our call to action. Now, can I just give some background, and then I'll develop it very quickly into what the idea is, which I actually kind of discussed briefly last time. But this is it. Jean, you clearly you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned about our revenue allocation, the basis of it. And to be frank with you, that is the central reason why we have the deceased republic that we currently have. And that is actually the most pressing reason why we really need to jettison this constitution. This constitution, through this revenue allocation policy, breeds poverty, indolence, and backwardness. And this is it. There are 5 bases for determining revenue allocation. And by revenue allocation, we're talking about what accrues to the Federation account. And essentially, this is pretty much the revenue that comes from oil. Our pretty much we're a mono, kind of economy, one product economy, and that pretty much is oil. Everything else pretty much is secondary. That's about 95% of our external earnings, and just bear that in mind. Now, so going back to the criteria that we have for revenue allocation, there's one that is the most offensive, and that is called absorptive capacity. Now, don't ask what the rationale is in here, because I think it's going to become apparent. It is the capacity of different local governments to absorb the revenue allocated to them. What this has done is incentivize those who do not want to have a proper census to continue to inflate their head count or the population of their various local governments. Because the more you inflate your population count or your head count, the more revenue you can demand from the center. And that is why that absorptive capacity as a principle for revenue allocation is so offensive. Everywhere in the world, when there's a census, it's pretty much a non-event. People simply submit their forms and so on, and it's done. In Nigeria, every time there is a census, there's killings. The last one, we're meant to have census every 10 years, but the governments are so sensitive, they don't want to touch it. The last one was under Obasanjo. Yes. No problem. Let me go. So, okay, I'm going to move on. But the point is this, that a constitution that allows this abhorrent basis for allocating revenue pretty much focuses on revenue allocation rather than revenue generation. No economy can function that way. And that is a central basis for the poverty that has been now kind of distributed all over the country. Now, okay, going on to my point. It's a point to set remittances. Our remittances as the diaspora is practically holding Nigeria up. I mentioned that previously. Now, I'm not saying that we should not send money to our people in Nigeria. No, of course, we should make sure we do that for various reasons, be it health, education, whatever it may be. But let us make sure that we deny the Nigerian state access to our hard currency. Our hard currency is pretty much the second highest generator of hard currency in Nigeria. The Nigerian economy is import dependent. So they need the hard currency in order to go and purchase things overseas. And the reason why you find the central government and the central bank being so desperate for hard currencies, they're doing everything they can do. They're banning, crypto in order to make sure that that the funds are coming through the official sources. They are offering you 5 naira per dollar if you use it.
Okay.
Yes.
You need to land it, but this is actually what I wanted to get with you so that we can form a team to actually look into it and figure out how we make it happen across the board.
Okay. So long and short of it, let us make sure, if we can, to use any peer-to-peer, avenues of sending money. Please, let us force this issue. Nigeria's economy, and the Nigerian state can no longer afford to maintain the state that it created, 37 or 36 states, with all these local governments. They can't fund it. Yes. So the more you deny that state the money that you actually work and labor for, the quicker we will get to the destination we want to get to. Okay, I think that pretty much is it.
Yeah,
I'll leave the rest.
I think we need to get some minds together and actually put a process in place as to how that's going to work. I think some of it is working unofficially now, but if we can kind of push that, and that's the same comment I was making about the loan, because there's a lawsuit against that Exim loan with China. So those are the kinds of things that, it is a call to action, kinds of thing we need to do. But I'm going to go real quick because we only have a few more minutes because Njinji has to move on to stuff that he has to do. Imoro, if you can ask your question, real quickly. If you can unmute and ask your question, that would be awesome. You are welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I'm unmuted already. You can hear me, right?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. I just want to say something. It's not it's not a question as such, but I think that in this type of thing, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, you want God on your side.
Amen.
And the reason I say that is because there was it has been talked about earlier about the tithe and so forth and using it. And somebody came back, one of the ministers came back and said, that was not a good idea. And I agree with him.
Yes.
Now, I am not an ordained minister in a church. I'm a Christian. And, we must be careful. Like I said earlier, just some moments ago, you want God on your side. The teaching of the Bible is that the tithe is the Lord's, and that when you don't pay your tithe, you're stealing from him. Mm-hmm. So please, I don't want us to get caught up in that. Live the tithe. I mean, I pay my tithe, and I don't go questioning the pastors about.
But he did say, let me just correct, and Seb, let me defend Seb. Seb did not say you keep the tithe. He said you take it to a different church. So he didn't say take it away.
No, he said that. I know he said that, but
yes, what you're saying is correct. It's correct.
Not everybody might be able to go to another church that easily. So please, let's leave that alone. You know, when Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence, he said that those rights, those things were given by the Creator. So please, we want him on our side.
Absolutely.
Don't touch his tithe. Leave it alone.
Okay, I need to move on to Thomas. That's the last question, so we can round up.
Let me ask something.
Seb, I need to move on to Thomas. Okay, Thomas, if you can ask your question, because we have to round out in a couple of minutes so that Njinja can get his program going. So Thomas, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. In fact, I am just overwhelmed with so much joy for what NINAS stands for and what NINAS is doing at the moment. Mine is not really question per se, but a kind of encouragement because just this evening, in fact, when I returned back home to join this meeting, I was like, oh God, I thank you for the opportunity today to preach NINAS, because I was privileged to speak in a youth forum. And just between yesterday evening and now, I was able to mobilize over 110 persons, out of which there are about 50.
Oh, Thomas, you better give me your information, okay? Because I'm coming to you so we can learn that and spread it. So
Thomas is the host of the
youth,
Thomas is the admin of the new middle belts. He was introduced by Pastor. We are going to merge it to the middle belts 3.
Awesome.
So what I want to say in a nutshell is that each and every one of us has a role to play, and we should walk the talk. We should take this as a mandate, and I think when we go at this pace, we'll be able to achieve a lot within a short time. Like, in fact, I have made a personal commitment as of yesterday. I said for each person I will preach the gospel to, beginning from yesterday, I will also preach the gospel of NINAS, because it's a gospel of salvation to Nigerians.
Amen.
So I want us to take that challenge as we forge ahead. So thank you so much. God bless us all.
Amen.
Amen.
Very much. Thank you very much. And we need to kind of like round up really quickly, but everyone has been fantastic. The questions have been fantastic. And again, just a call to action. Okay. It's not just about us. It's not about those who are choosing not to speak. It's about those who can't speak. And unfortunately, in our country, about those who don't even know that they have a voice to speak. And that's why we have to speak. Because if you don't speak, then we've lost the opportunity to save our people. It takes all of us. I said it takes a village, all of us. It's you, me, us, we. We have to do it. And I'm going to take, we have just 30 seconds, Schengen, and then we are going to be rounded up.
And 5 seconds.
30 seconds. And Seb, you have the other 30 seconds, and then we're rounding up. We only have 1 minute. Let's go. Let's go, Honorable.
Thank you very much. Please, because I was a little off and on, I don't know if the question I needed to ask now has been answered, but it is pertinent to me. How can we, because that's the question anybody will ask you, okay, people are being killed, people are being oppressed for operating NINAS. How do you defend them? How can we respond to this?
Okay, I think we will take that question because I think we kind of touched on it a little bit at the last meeting, and we'll take it up at the next meeting. I will board that, and that will be one of the first questions that we answer, because that is a very important question. Okay, that is a very important question for sure. So I will board that, and the next Q&A will definitely be responding to that. And then I'll go to Seb. Seb, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. As rounding up, the area of calling to action, I want to emphasize on it. We've talked on it, but I wish everyone here to go home with the following issue, with the following points. Yes, many of you here are in diaspora, but the theater is in Nigeria, and the constitutional force majeure is Nigerian born. It's Nigerian idea, Nigerian born with international acceptance. So we have to reach out to people down there in the villages. Could you kindly talk with your contacts that each person should reach out on phone with his people in the villages? We need the masses in the villages. Many of them don't even have internet access, right? SMS communication is still very, very useful.
Yeah.
SMS communication, right? If they cannot sign, but they can give you their numbers and you sign on their behalf, their name and their numbers, you sign on their behalf. It's important. And then next thing is, please, all of us, let us make sure we join one of the blocks of NINAS, either Middle Belt or Lower Niger or Odua block. Let us make sure we join, that we are in one of these blocks, please. It's very important so that you get first-hand information and disseminate it to people who are related to you, people in the villages.
Okay, we do have to wrap up right now. So thank you very much, everyone. Lord, we just thank you for bringing us here. We thank you for the great contributions by everyone. And I think these meetings are getting even better, which I didn't think was possible. But kudos to everyone that asked the questions. Kudos to everyone that answered the questions. And kudos to everyone that participated, because this was just so well behaved. It's unbelievable. So thank you all very much. We will see you next week. This coming weekend, we're going to have multiple events going on, maybe 2 or 3. So we do want to say thank you to everyone, and goodbye. Thank you very much, Njenje. You've been awesome. And thank you again, and see you next time. Remember, do your bit. Talk to 100 people. In fact, 200. You need to beat Thomas at his number.
If you want to be reached, please write your number in the chat section.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, then we have to go now. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye to all.